Kathy and Chris have made it to their 50s. Who would have ever known they would live that long? That's a nice full life by V.C. Andrews standards. It's the summer of 1997. Seems like it was just yesterday that the Dollanganger siblings were led to the original Foxworth Hall by their greedy mother late one August night. That was back when Kathy had been naive and believed in fairies and princesses, before she grew old and went on to look like morbid destiny, according to the cover artist. Kathy's younger son, Bart, is about to turn 25 and come into his full wealth, and so she and her husband, brother Chris, have come to stay at the reconstructed Foxworth Hall just long enough to celebrate. And then, on August 10th, they will fly off to Hawaii with their teen daughter. But once they're on their way, Bart can go live his life however the hell he wants to, without the fam around to cramp his style. Despite her plans for the future, Kathy's cynical side is starting to get the best of her. She doesn't believe in fairies anymore, but she apparently believes in ghosts and curses. She should, since she's probably a witch herself, according to the cover artist and little Karen Brewer from those Babysitters Club books. Chris almost manages to convince her that this beautiful vacation home is their reward for their years of patience and suffering. But then it starts to rain, and the rain always all over Kathy's good mood. The good news is that Bart's all better after 8 years of therapy. At 18, his psychiatrist stamped cured across his file just in time for college, probably thanks to some money under the table from Daddy Chris. I don't trust this guy not to buy himself a few shortcuts in life. Perhaps with a little bit of Mama's money he's been investing wisely. Young Bart has graduated from Harvard Law School recently, and he gave a really great speech. No disturbed man could have ever given a speech like the one he gave, so he must be okay now. Bart's older brother Jory has found fame as a male ballerina in New York with his wife and former childhood sweetheart Melody Richarm. Jory's grandmother, Madam M, is dead now, but she lived and danced her way to the ripe old age of 87. Chris and Kathy's youngest, an adopted daughter named Cindy, is 16 now and does not get along with her brother Bart because he's been nothing but a thorn in her side since she was a little kid. Needless to say, she did not grace his graduation ceremony with her presence. Her loss. His speech was really amazing. Too bad he couldn't be like that young man at home, Kathy thinks to herself. But what does she know? She's not his psychiatrist and probably not as easily bought off. Bart still has not accepted Chris as his father, and why should he? Though Bart adores his mother well enough. A little too much, if you ask me. At the door, Dr. Sheffield and his wife are greeted by an old man. Who is this guy, and why does he look so very familiar? It takes Kathy more than a few seconds to realize he looks a lot like how their dead daddy might have looked if he hadn't gone up in flames in that logging truck crash in Final Destination 2. He introduces himself as their Uncle Joel. You know, the younger of Mama's two older brothers, the one who was supposed to have died at 19 in a skiing accident in Switzerland back in the 30s. Talk about old. This guy was probably chilling with Littlefoot and his mother back in the day. Joel begins his long, sad tale of growing up as the younger son of a cold and distant father. He was apparently a useless second son as well. Bart is carrying on that Foxworth tradition. No running to greet this daddy with kisses in the foyer on Friday evenings. And Malcolm didn't have a very close relationship with his wife, but Joel figured that was just fine by his mom. That's something a man would say. Joel and his brother Mel eventually built a cabin in the mountains where they could hang out with girls and rebel against their father in secret. Probably code for and alcohol, maybe some skinny dipping if they wanted to go wild. But then Mel went and got himself killed at 21 by riding his motorcycle off a cliff. I suppose that's one way to get out of taking over the family business. So guess who was next in line to step into Daddy Malcolm's shoes? Joel chose to run away from home instead. Being the artsy-fartsy type, he got a job in France at a nightclub. Then he went on to Switzerland and worked at a nightclub there for a bit. When he was not working, he was doing fun outdoor activities, such as skiing in the Alps with his friends. That's how he ultimately ended up tumbling down a mountain and making everyone think he was buried in the snow somewhere, being whisked away to live with Jesus. In reality, he was being whisked away by a couple of donkey-riding monks. So that's how he ended up painting wall murals and playing music at an Italian monastery. It was a sweet life compared to working at a bank under the constant watch of a tyrannical father. One day, a U.S. journalist stopped by the monastery to do a story on the life of the modern monk. This journalist just happened to be familiar with the late and great Malcolm Foxworth, who was not only extremely wealthy, but also dabbled in politics. The journalist was the one who informed Joel that his mother and father were dead, and Joel must have been relieved because he decided that was enough reason to return home and catch up with his sister. She was a pain in the ass as a child, but we all grow up, right? Or most of us do. Some of us just end up locking our kids in an attic and waiting for them to die up there. The journalist knew that Malcolm and Olivia were dead, but somehow he had no clue that Foxworth Hall burned to the ground in 1972, the same night Corinne Foxworth was exposed as a child abusing, a murderous psychopath by her secret daughter, and then promptly institutionalized. Joel didn't find out this hot tea until he actually arrived in Virginia. Then he learned all about Corinne's ultimate fate by stalking her younger grandson and connecting with him one day at Foxworth Hall. He thinks very highly of Bart, and he says that Bart was pleased to meet him. Kathy finds it hard to believe that her son would be pleased to learn there was a living relative who could potentially break his grandmother's will, but of course she keeps her cynical thoughts to herself.
Wish I could give you up, but you're my new favorite drug. Enter into my blood, run with my toxic love. Look how you make me happy. You take a hold of me. You take a hold of me. I wish I could give